Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Toma. Welcome. So today I wanted to talk about mental health. So this is something I have not talked about on my channel in a while, and if you guys know me or if you guys have followed me for any period of time, you know that it's something that's quite important to me. And so I kind of realized that I hadn't talked about it in a while and I want to talk about it again. And my friend Natalie, shout out to Natalie, I love her, she's great. She actually mentioned to me when we were at dinner that one thing that I could do with my channel was to open up about my struggles with mental health. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, because that is something that I've kind of fallen off with. So I thought I'd kind of just tell you guys about my journey and my struggle with mental health and what I deal with and how I deal with it and all that sort of good stuff. So let's get into it. Alright, so I've deeply struggled with mental health for many years now. I would say the first real memory I have of having any sort of mental health issue was when I was younger. I was 8 years old and my great-grandmother passed away, and it was really hard for me to deal with because I was really close with her, and that was my first experience with death. And I started to have a lot of anxiety around death, like overwhelming anxiety. And I can remember it pretty clearly because it was a turning point in my life. But I didn't know, and like my family and stuff didn't really know that I had anxiety at the time. It was like different back then. It just wasn't taken as a mental health issue, really. So I think that was the real turning point for me. In psychology, they call it a stressful life event, which is obviously sounds very like clear, like a stressful life event. But a stressful life event kind of means an event that triggers your mental illness if you're predisposed. And I think that I'm genetically predisposed because I know that some people in my family have struggled with mental health issues as well. But I feel like that was my stressful life event, my trigger to set off my mental health issues, and more specifically, my anxiety. So with that being said, I thought I would share with you guys my diagnoses, because there are multiple. So in recent years, I would say within the last year or two, I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. I also have been diagnosed with ADHD, and I've also been exploring a possible mood disorder. And the DSM definition of it is excessive anxiety and worry, apprehensive expectation, occurring more days than not for at least 6 months about a number of events or activities such as work or school performance. So it's essentially what you would think it is by the title, generalized anxiety disorder. It kind of just means that there are several different sectors in which the anxiety can be triggered, or in which the anxiety can present itself. So some people might just have social anxiety, which means they have anxiety around social situations. Some people might have a specific anxiety related to a fear or a phobia, and some people might have both. And so generalized anxiety disorder is kind of like being able to have a multitude of them. So I do suffer from social anxiety, and pretty much every instance in my life can give me anxiety. So pretty much to sum it up, everything gives me anxiety. And like, I'm not being facetious in the slightest. Like any situation, my brain can find a way to make that an anxiety-inducing situation. So there you have it. So as you can imagine, that's an insanely hard thing to control, and that's why it's a struggle. And then ADHD, which is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which you guys are all probably familiar with. It's just defined by attention difficulty, hyperactivity, and impulsiveness. I can definitely get into this more in another video, ADHD, because there's a lot of common misconceptions, and I didn't know that I had ADHD until I was an adult, but I wish I knew that when I was a kid, and I wish others recognized it within me when I was a kid as well, because I feel like I would definitely have been able to do better in school and done things differently, but can't go back. But anyway, and then there's the possible mood disorder. So I don't know yet if I actually have a mood disorder. We're kind of exploring it, and by we're, I mean myself and my psychiatrist. I struggle with an instability in moods, meaning my mood often fluctuates, and sometimes, well, oftentimes without reason, it feels like, and it just seems like it's out of my control. So we're currently exploring specifically bipolar disorder, and so how we're exploring it is that my psychiatrist has actually given me an assessment. So after every session that I have with her, which our sessions are very quick, like 30 minutes, and it's more of a medication management session. And after each session, she sends me an online assessment that tracks my feelings and my symptoms. And so she's been tracking this for a while, and over time she'll continue to track it, and then this will tell us whether or not, well, it will help tell us whether or not I might have bipolar disorder. I used to think, I was like convinced that I had borderline personality disorder, but because I just felt all the symptoms aligned with what I deal with, but the symptoms that I deal with were not prevalent enough, and they were inconsistent because they were really situational. So it would only happen in certain situations and certain times in my life, and so that doesn't allow it to be classified as the actual disorder. So for care, I see a therapist and I do traditional talk therapy. I see a psychiatrist, and that is for medication management because I do currently take 3 medications. I won't completely bore you guys with the details of what medications I take and how they help me. Unless you guys actually want to know about that, then let me know in the comments down below, and I would definitely happy to do so, because I know that medication for mental health can be a very touchy subject, and for me it is not, because it took me years to get to the point to get over all those stigmas and just kind of, you know, do what's best for me and my body and my life and my health. So happy to talk about that. And yeah, so I don't know, lately I have been feeling better than ever, and I feel so grateful. Like, it's kind of insane. Like, I feel motivated and driven, and I feel like myself, and I feel consistent, and I've been social, and I've just been so great. Like, and that's not to say that everything in my life has been great, because things have been crazy and chaotic, just as they always have been for the last like 3 years. But mentally, I feel well, and that's like so crazy for me to say, because for so long I felt so mentally unwell. Like, it was really hard. Yeah, I mean, it's been an arduous journey. Like, I had a lot of times, a lot of panic attacks, a lot of days just not getting out of bed, not wanting to get out of bed, not feeling like there was any reason to get out of bed, not feeling like existing. Just really deep, dark days for so long. And there's no magical cure. There's nothing magic that happened that changed it. I mean, definitely I would say my medicines help, and my perspective has changed, and there's so many different factors that go into it. So I don't want anyone to think, oh my gosh, now you're all better magically. Like, I know there's still hard days ahead, and that's just life. But for right now, in this given moment, I am very, very, very grateful. Like, so grateful that I'm just kind of the person that I want to be, and the person that I know that I am, without the burden of my anxiety and my struggles kind of like weighing me down. I can't tell you the last time I experienced uncontrollable anxious thoughts, which was my main symptom that I had that was so bad for so many years. I just would have these insanely uncontrollable anxious thoughts, like most of them being irrational. Like, it was really hard, and I don't have those anymore. It's just, I mean, overall, it's just been, I'm just doing so well. I'm doing so much better, and yeah, I'm really happy. I don't know, it's been really good. So yeah, I definitely didn't want to get on here and be like, oh my gosh, guys, I'm doing amazing. Like, it's so amazing. Can you imagine? I once had anxiety, and now I do not. Sorry, that's the dog in the background. But no, I don't want to, that's not the, I hope that's not the vibe I'm giving off, because that's not the vibe I intend to give off. I just wanted to share with you guys what I have gone through, what I am currently going through, what I will deal with for the rest of my life. And I wanted to be open with that, start a conversation about that, and I wanted to, for people who watch my channel to feel like, wow, she goes through this too, or wow, everything's not so peachy keen and easy for her in her life. And I don't know, just maybe somebody relates to it or feels like they have somebody they can talk to. Like, I want to be that person, and that's the intent behind my channel. So I wanted to share with you guys, because I feel like that is part of who I am. That is a part of who I am. My mental health is a major part of who I am, and not to say that it defines me, but it is a very real thing that I have to deal with on a daily basis, just as so many other people do. So I want to be open and honest about that, and I want to help anyone if I can. And I also want people to know that, like, dark days don't last forever. Like, I stand by that, you know, and I know it's easy to say now that I'm like feeling good, but there were days where I really didn't think I would ever feel okay, like, seriously, and I came out of it, and you can too, and people can come out of it. And it's, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is a very like heavy topic, so I have a lot to say in lots of different ways, but mainly I just want to act as a support for you guys, or for anyone who's out there and just wants to know that they're not alone. I want to be that person. Or if anyone wants to talk, like, comment section, DM me on Instagram, like, happy to chat. Like, the struggle is real. Like, even when I'm not feeling down in my darkest days, I still struggle with my mental health. So yeah. So yeah, that was pretty much all I wanted to talk about for this video. I do also want to talk about, like, somebody asked in my, I did a little questions on Instagram, and if you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram. I did a little questions thing on my story, and somebody said, talk about how I cope and all that sort of stuff. Love to talk about it. Let's do that in another video, and if you guys are interested, definitely let me know. I always need to know what you guys are interested in, so I'm not just making content that's like, bleh. And there's still so much more to say about this topic, but I just wanted to get on here and kind of just, you know, kick off the conversation. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, sending all the light and the love the universe has to offer your way.